Brightest blessings, this is Raven, and today we are going to start looking at doing our Book of Shadows work on butterflies. So I've got a couple of things laid out here which I'm going to talk about before we get into some more details. So first of all, we have some of my butterfly ephemera, which isn't on Etsy. This is going to be a freebie. Okay, so we've got various tags and things, the same as the last free set. There's lots and lots of different bits of ephemera that you can use in your books of shadows or journals, and I've tried to make them all different sizes. I've used different butterflies and different colours, so these can all be printed out onto a good matte photo paper, onto brochure paper. This is quite a thick matte photo paper, so this is good, and it's single-sided, so this side I can cover with something else so that they're nice and thick to be able to put inside our journals or books of shadows. So that's those. The freebie will be up shortly. I will put the link to my Facebook where the freebies will be. Okay. Secondly, we have these butterflies and these papers, which is a digital kit from Etsy. I will link that below. There are lots and lots of other pages included. These are just the ones that I have decided to work with, because what I want to do with my big grimoire is have a little butterfly book, because I really want to research in depth. Now, I've backed these with papers that I have. Okay, so these are just single-sided. So this is in the kit, and so is this one. I've cut them all down to different sizes and printed them out different sizes so that I've got some variety. This one is in the kit, this one, and this one. Okay, and this one is just the same as the first one, but I folded it the other way and I've backed it with some of my backgrounds that I can use. If I get round to it, I'll probably put some free backgrounds that you can use as well if you want to. So the idea is that once we've done all our research and made all our notes and everything else, we're going to put that into this little book. We're going to stitch this up, and then we're going to put this in my big grimoire. Okay, so I'll show you quickly what it's like all together. Now, this has printed with a big border around, and I'm leaving that because we're going to decorate that in a future video. Okay, so you can see now that I've tried to pick backgrounds that are vintagey looking, because the main digitals are vintage in style, so that then we've got a nice variety of papers to use, lots of room for writing, for adding more butterflies, for adding our ephemera, and I may well also be adding some coffee dyed paper into here as well if I find I haven't got enough room to make all of the notes that I want to. So that is that. The link for the Etsy shop, I can't remember the name of the Etsy shop at this current moment, but the link will be below for this shop to get this digital and the butterflies that are included. There are quite a lot of other bits of ephemera and other digital pages to print out with this kit. Okay. I've also printed out these, which are some fussy cut flowers. Okay, and these are from Dreaming Hearts Company, which I will link below, both the Facebook page and the Etsy. All right. And she has basically put 3 of each flower. So I'll show you here. This will be a bit easier now I've got the 3 together. So she's got 3 of each flower in different sizes, and they come on a sheet of paper like that. And this has been printed out onto matte photo paper, but this is the double-sided type because it's a bit thinner. So these are perfect for then adding a butterfly onto, or to decorate a page, or to make some ephemera. So we're going to use some of these in our work as well. I've got a variety of different flowers here. Some have already got butterflies on, such as that one. Now we're obviously not going to use all of these. We're going to pick and choose the size and which ones we want to use. But I wanted to use these because they are very vibrant and colourful and will boost our vintage looking pages a little, because butterflies I associate with colour and vibrancy. And we've got some other bits here too. So yes, I will link Dreaming Hearts Company in the description at both the Etsy shop and her Facebook page so that you can go along and get these also. They're not going to go back on there now, are they? And I really liked this set because of the variety of sizes. All too often you'll find that they're all this bigger size, and the fact that they were smaller and smaller was good to me, because when I make tags and journal cards, so I've been making some the last few days from my own kits and various other things, just using some Amazon packaging cardboard. I make them in a variety of sizes, and I want to be able to use smaller flowers as well as bigger ones in a variety of ways. So for example, this was a much bigger posy, but I've cut it down into 4 so that I can use it on there. And these, as I said, are all bits of Amazon cardboard. You know, the thinner packages that they send, not big thick cardboard, very thin, and this makes a really sturdy base for a journal card or a tag. So there's some examples there. This is what I made last night. We went to Weston-super-Mare yesterday, myself and my partner and the children and Dougie. It was his first time at the seaside and he absolutely loved it. But by the time I got back, I was exhausted and just wanted to sit and relax and do some craft. So I made these last night. So moving on, a lot of people have asked about my research process and where I find information and how I go about correlating that and, you know, all of that sort of business. So what I've done as an example is I've gone to 2 websites, which I will link below. So if you want to follow along with me and do this as well, you can do. So I've gone to Learn Religions, which is a popular site, and I've also gone to another one which is called Otherworldly Oracle. I will link both below. And this is how I start when it comes to my research. I will have a look online and pick and choose bits of information that I find interesting or that I might want to research further. Okay, now I don't normally print them out. I will normally sit with my phone and go through it, and I will jot down all of the bits of information on a piece of paper, and then I will look up other bits of information and go that way. But for showing you guys, I thought I would print these out. So we'll start with the Otherworldly Oracle for now. So what I then will do, if I have printed it out or if I'm using a book and it's my book, I haven't borrowed it from a library, I will start to highlight information. Now I might do this in pencil if it's a book that I've borrowed, a light pencil so that then I can rub it all out. But I tend to find this easier for me to pick out the information that I want. So I only need to read the entire thing once, okay? So I've gone through the bits of information and I've read what I find the most interesting, okay? So I've then highlighted the bits of information that I need to then either further research or to jot down when I do my final draft, okay? So you can see here there's quite a lot on this page of bits of information, but there's also, obviously the person that's written this has put their own sort of personality into it. And that's not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in the key bits of information. So I've highlighted things such as butterflies being at least 56 million years old. Okay, and that they are prehistoric beings, and that they're from all over the world. There's over 18,000 different species. So with those different bits of information, I can then look at, right, they're at least 56 million years old. Where can I find the source information for that? How do we know that they're at least 56 million years old? Yeah. And then talking about there being over 18,000 species. I might want to list all 18,000 species. It's unlikely because there's 18,000 of them, but I could if I wanted to. Perhaps I can look at the 18,000 species and look at the species that are just in the UK where I am based. Perhaps I want to look at the different species and be able to find pictures of the ones I've personally seen, whether it be physically or in dreams. So this is why I start highlighting things so that then I can further research. Okay? And then we're looking into the history in magic and good and bad superstitions. So here talks about butterflies having a long history in magical traditions. It talks about how the butterfly came to be its name. And it says here that the term originated from the idea that these beautiful insects stole butter from churns. I didn't know that. I don't know if that's true or not because I've just seen it on this piece of paper, so I'm going to research if that's true. It then goes on to say that in medieval times, everyone was terrified of witches. We know that. That is a fact. Hundreds of thousands of people were put to death after being accused of witchcraft. That's true. And where there was a witch, there was an animal that was a familiar. That's also a true thing. A lot of the history of witchcraft shows that during the witch trials, they were associated with having a familiar or an animal that would do the devil's work. Okay, so the butterfly was once thought to be one of the witch's familiars, or a spirit of the witch herself in shape-shifted form. Again, not something I knew. I suppose most people would associate familiars with cats and frogs and toads and, you know, all that sort of thing. A butterfly wasn't one that I'd thought about. And that stealing butter was one of the many evil deeds on a witch's resume. So again, this is something that I can now that I've got that piece of information, I can research more. And this is how I end up having a book of shadows that is so rich with information. All right, so I pick things that I find interesting and I want to know if it's true or not. I want to know if there's anything else that's linked to that. And that's why I do this process, okay? So I hope that this is really helpful for those people that have asked me, how do you get a book of shadows so rich in information with so much detail, and how do you know what to look for? This is how you start. With just a simple book or a piece of online literature that you can look through and identify the bits of information that are interesting to you, and then research those bits of information. And what you'll find is that each time you do that, it will link you onto something else. So for example, I started with this website and that led me on to learn religions. Okay, and there was more information on here about certain types of butterfly and different legends than what there were here. So especially if you're going to work online, what you will find is that one website will lead you to another, and then another, and then another. So this isn't going to be a quick process. This is going to take a long time. So this is going to be a series of videos that are spread out over the next month, next 2 months, where we're going to work alongside each other to get this information down. And what I would like to do is go onto the Facebook page, my Facebook page, and for you to share the information that you found. So I will put these websites onto the Facebook page as well, and any other websites that I find, I will also link those on the Facebook page, so that then if you want to go along this journey with me and you want to learn more about butterfly symbolism and magic, and you know where we know all this information from, we can do that together. Okay, now I've picked the butterfly because butterflies have always been a symbol of spirit guides for me. Although there are many butterflies in the UK, it's very rare that I will see big, bright, colourful butterflies. Usually in my garden, I will get the plain old white little butterflies, which again, I don't know the name of, so that's why we're going to research. But on the occasions that I've seen the more beautiful, colourful butterflies in my garden, or have landed on me, or have come to me in a dream or a meditation, it says to me that my spirit guide is talking to me, that perhaps they have a message for me, that there is some wisdom there. And butterflies are really interesting for me personally. I have a bit of a thing about bugs and insects, and this to me is really interesting. So I hope a lot of you are going to take part in this little challenge. We'll say it's a challenge, just to keep it interesting. But I'd like us to go along this path together, and hopefully we will all come out with some really beautiful and interesting information to go inside our books of shadows. Now, if you're just a journal maker and you're not really interested in the research side of things, that's perfectly fine as well. Perhaps you're watching this and you're thinking, actually, I love butterflies. I would like a butterfly journal. I've already made a butterfly journal, which is a previous video, a flip through. And all of the different aspects of things that we use, such as my freebies, such as the flowers from Dreaming Hearts Company, and such as the digital ephemera and pages from the company I can't remember on Etsy, but is linked below. Hopefully you will find those interesting, and perhaps the process of the final video, where we put all of the information, all of the decorations, all of the ephemera into this little mini journal here, is what you're looking for, because essentially this is a little mini journal, okay, which can be kept separate. Doesn't have to go in a book of shadows. This is a journal in and of itself. The idea was that I wanted to have this little booklet that I can slip into my book of shadows or my grimoire and be able to take out and add extra information into. So I will be adding some plain tags and journal cards, and have a couple of plain pages towards the back as well, so that I can record things when they happen. Because part of my process and my journey into witchcraft is to write down my experiences. So say in 6 months' time I have a dream about butterflies, that would go in here. Say I have a butterfly in a year's time land on my finger and refuse to move for a good 10 minutes. Perhaps I write that in. Perhaps I discover a completely different piece of information that I haven't actually found before. I can add that in as well. So that's really it on that side of things. I'll just quickly show you the type of information that I found on these two websites to begin with, so that it gives you a good starting point. So after this first page where we were talking about, you know, history and things like that, it then moves on to butterfly meanings, and, you know, what does it mean if you keep seeing butterflies, or if they land on you, or if you see them in a dream. So it's broken down into very small little paragraphs here that you can then further research, which is why further along here I have literally just highlighted the titles, because all of this information I'm interested in and I want to further research. So this is butterfly colours and types and their meanings. So talking about white butterflies, and this website is pretty good because it does actually have some names of butterflies. So wood whites, cabbage whites and garden whites are types of white butterfly that you might see in your garden. So that's interesting. Maybe the white ones that I see in my garden are one of these three types. And that goes on further to say that the colour white means purity, peace and connection to the divine. Seeing a white butterfly means your ancestor or spirit guide is nearby. It could also mean a time of change, one that purifies your soul and your life is coming. So that's a nice little piece, you know, a snippet of information that I can run with. Perhaps I'm really interested in being able to communicate with white butterflies because I see them so often in my garden. Perhaps there are things that I can give as offerings in my garden or in dreams and meditations to encourage white butterflies into my dreams or my garden. Okay, so I'm not going to read them all. I have left it there for a while, so you can always pause it and screenshot it if you want to, if you're on your phone. And at the bottom of this last page is about butterfly spirit guides. And this is, you know, some basic information here about that. So that is the otherworldlyoracle.com. And there is a link, there is, you know, the address there. I will, again, link that below and on the Facebook page so you can get to it easily. So that's that one. And then this is Learn Religions. Now, if you're a beginner, Learn Religions is an excellent website for beginning your journey, because they have a wealth of information about witchcraft and paganism. And although it's not very in depth, there are lots of starting points for you to go off with. So quite often Learn Religions is a website that I will start with, because I know that it's going to give me lots and lots of starting points to look further into. So here at the bottom of this first page, it talks about Irish butterfly legends. And the reason I haven't double done these is because I forgot to change the paper. So this is actually photo paper. So what I will end up doing is using this side to print other things for collage. So I will just rip them up to use for collage so that I don't waste it. And it talks about ancient Greece and Rome and Native American butterfly folklore. So these things to me are really, really interesting, because this is where we get a lot of our superstitions from. All these different stories from our history. Here we're talking about butterflies around the world, such as the Luna moth, which is often mistaken for a butterfly, but technically is not one. It represents not only spiritual growth and transformation, but also wisdom and intuition. So here, this is said to me, right, now I'm interested in moths too. So it's not just butterflies, it's moths as well. So we're going to do butterflies first, but then I perhaps might want to go on to moths. Now you see what I mean. You go through things and it will give you another stepping stone and another stepping stone and another and another and another. And that's how I fill my books of shadows. because I'm the sort of person that likes to have a lot of information. I like to have all the information there before I start the work. So at the moment, I don't specifically go out to work with butterflies, but butterflies come to work with me. I want to change that. I want to be able to summon butterflies in my meditations or dreams. I want to be able to bring more wildlife and butterflies into my garden. Excuse me. So this is why I'm doing the research. If I want to do the work myself, I need to do all of this research first so that I understand what I'm doing before I actually do the physical work. And that's a really important part about witchcraft and in life, really. If you're going to set a new task for yourself, it's better to have all the information first instead of going gung-ho and going to the other end of things and then realising actually you didn't do step 1, 2 to 9 before you got to number 10. All right. And again, we've got more information here about butterflies around the world. And here is an important bit of information is, in addition to butterflies, it's important to not forget the magic of the caterpillar. After all, without them, we'd have no butterflies. So again, this has given me another stepping stone. I'm very interested in butterflies, but butterflies are caterpillars. So we need to look at caterpillars, which is their first stage of life, really. So part of my research will then be going on to caterpillars, and it's not just the spiritual and magical side that I will be looking into. I will also be looking into the life cycles and, you know, the physical attributes of a butterfly as well, because those play an important part in magical practices. You're never going to understand what a butterfly is trying to tell you just by its physical appearance or the movements that it makes if you don't understand those movements. And this is talking about butterfly gardens and how to attract them to your garden. Okay, and you can see at the bottom here, oh dear, the actual website has some extra links to go to other things about Wicca, about paganism, you know, and other things on there. So I really do hope that you will go along to Learn Religions and have a really good look, because they are fabulous. And it's not just paganism, it is all of the religions as well. And I do incorporate other religions into my practice because they will quite often influence the things that we do. So this is a really good way for you to begin. And I know a lot of you are on the very first steps to your journey into paganism and witchcraft, and perhaps you have decided on a specific topic that you want to start looking at but have no idea how to start. This website is a fantastic resource for that. And now this isn't a paid advert, you know, this isn't, they don't know that I'm talking about them. I just feel that Learn Religions is the perfect website really for those people who are just on the beginning of their journey, and even those who are like me that have been doing this, you know, 10 plus 15 plus years. Being able to have these short snippets of information about something that we're really interested in will give us that vital stepping stone to then look further into our research. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope you are all well. The plan is to do, as I said, this is going to be going over the next couple of months. I'm hoping to do at least one video a week, sometimes more if I can, on this topic, because I want you to be able to follow along with me, but also have time to do some of the work between the videos. All right. The next video will likely be some ephemera making, similar to these things that I made last night. And we will go from there. So blessings to all of you. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.